So, something happened. Games Workshop has done something you don't like. They may have released a bad codex. They may have retconned your lore. They may have made nonsense lore. They may have discontinued some of your models. They may have removed your army from your preferred game system. They may update the rules faster than you can play a game. They may have removed your game system entirely. First things first, don't panic. You have options. I am here to tell you about One Page Rules. One Page Rules is a model-agnostic wargame where you can take those same models that Games Workshop says that you can't use anymore and move them directly over to One Page Rules. No rebasing or modifications needed. So the money and effort you've spent lovingly crafting your models isn't wasted. You can start today for free by going to onepagerules.com and downloading the starter rules for your preferred game system from their website. The starter rules are all you need to get your army back on the field of battle, fighting in the far future or in the ages of fantasy. There are also free mission cards, campaign rules, solo and co-op rules, tournament guidelines, and play tokens. No need to spend hundreds of dollars on books to get access to rules to play with your miniatures. Also on the One Page Rules website, you have full free access to their army building app, the Army Forge. No subscription required, and you can make as many army lists as you want without running into a paywall. The Army Forge has all the rules for every faction built right in with an easy to read summary and export option. It even formats your army list to be printable on a single sheet of paper. For ease of play, it also includes any spells and special rules your army may have in the printout, so you can play your games without the need to look at what a special rule does in the core rules. Everything you need on one sheet of paper. Every army that is made by GW has an equivalent in One Page Rules. There are even some additional armies that you might want to check out. Another thing that I want to bring up is there are many conversion rules made by the community inside the Army Forge that allow you to play in different scales. Want to play 10mm regiment games like Warmaster? Those are in there. Want to play epic 40,000 scaled battles? Those are in there too. There is even a whole official game system by One Page Rules for spaceship combat, just like Battlefleet Gothic. If you have old collections that are no longer supported by Games Workshop, One Page Rules has rules for you to get your models back out onto the board and back to war. Now the starter rules do what they're supposed to do. They're simple and get you on the board fast for free. But if you are looking for a crunchier experience, they have an advanced rulebook that adds in things you are familiar with. Things like terrain rules, different deployment maps, extra missions, secondary missions, extra actions your units can take, random event tables, battlefield conditions, and also they have command points and stratagems. Those are all in the advanced rulebook, and they are all optional rules that you can add into your game. You don't have to use them, but they have been formed with the armies and missions of One Page Rules in mind. If you like the game and you want to get the advanced rulebook, you have two options. You can go to drivethrurpg.com and purchase the rulebook PDF there for $5. And whenever the rules change in an update from One Page Rules, your rulebook will update as well. You will just have to go back and re-download the file. Or you can join the One Page Rules Patreon, where you get access to the advanced rulebooks for all of their game systems for less than the cost of a pot of paint from Games Workshop a month. There are more benefits to becoming a Patreon, but I will let you see for yourself when you check that out. There's also the lore aspect. One Page Rules has started releasing their own lore, but it is not required reading. While the lore they have put out is fun and interesting, it might not be the kind of lore you want. Feel free to port over all the lore you want from any source you want. In this game, your army are your dudes, and your story is your story for them. I personally checked out of 40k lore in 7th edition, and that is the lore I play with in one-page rules. Overall, what I'm trying to say is that all hope isn't lost. You can still play with your models and continue on whatever lore you want in one-page rules. Instead of switching over to another game by the same company and possibly running into the same something that hit you this time, check out one-page rules. You can play with any miniatures you have, and for less than a pot of Citadel paint, you can get the full rules that will always stay current. I will be revisiting my Games Workshop to one-page rules comparison video in the near future. It's been a year since I started playing one-page rules, and my opinions have changed. Until then, I'm War Boss Fitz, and I hope to see you across the table someday. Have a good one.